Planning Commission for February 14th, 2024. I have 6 commissioners present. Thank you for everybody for being here, and have asked Commissioner Beecher to give our invitation.
Thank you for the opportunity you have to serve tonight. We thank you for all the many blessings. Please bless us and we'll be able to make good decisions for Payson and for the residents. So we'll work well together and we'll enjoy one another's company. And this we say in Jesus Christ.
Amen. Thank you. Next item is 3.1. This is our consent agenda. This is the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting, January 24th. Is there any discussion on the previous?
I will be approved.
Motion. Second. All in favor, by yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Those been approved. Next is a public forum. I'm not seeing any public present. We're online, so we will move past item 4. Moving on to item 5. This is 5.1, a public hearing for the ordinance text amendments Title 13 for detached accessory dwelling units. Robert has our presentation. Commissioner, we'll have full commission on Valentine's Day. Another chair. Or she did you chair? Here, I got you.
It's fine. I can stand or crouch or kneel.
In front.
I'll make it.
We're all sorts of informal tonight, so thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate it. I understand that it's a holiday and there are other things and places to be, so I will be as brief as possible. We've been through this several times already, detached accessory dwelling units, and there may still be some questions tonight, so feel free if my computer will work. There we go. So just a little bit of background. Payson City does allow internal accessory dwelling units currently. That was passed by state law. Well, we actually did that before, and then the state law made that applicable to all residential zones. And one of the moderate income housing strategies that we have selected as Payson is to create opportunities for the expansion of accessory dwellings. And so this is just kind of following through on that. And we've held a couple work sessions, one with the council, one with the planning commission. And then we had another planning commission meeting last time to discuss these. You gave me some suggestions. I probably didn't remember all of them. So if you've looked through things in this ordinance and there are still things amiss, we can discuss those and we can either remand back to staff again, or if you feel confident moving forward with a motion just to include those things, we can do that as well. So just a reminder of what accessory dwelling units are. Payson City currently allows this one and this one. What we're talking about tonight is this one, because the way that we have written the code, this one would not be permitted. Okay. So these are just some general requirements that we have, and I have the full code up and I can bring that up. These are just the highlights. Only one accessory dwelling unit per single family dwelling on a lot. So if you have an interior one already, you cannot have an extra one. Okay. Not permitted on lots less than 6,000 square feet. You can have an accessory structure that's a detached dwelling unit, or excuse me, accessory dwelling, but you can't have a detached garage with an accessory dwelling unit over it. And then we have limited that height to 18 feet. Setbacks no closer than 10 feet on the side or the rear, and accessory structures are not permitted in the front yard. Appearance, they have to be similar in size, design, style, character to the dwelling. And then size, let's see if I can do this. The size, we talked about last time having a minimum square footage of at least 300 square feet, and then a maximum of 1,200 square feet. Second kitchens, there's only one kitchen allowed in a detached, in an accessory dwelling unit, period. Parking, each dwelling that's associated with these have to have a minimum of 4 off-street parking stalls. So whatever combination, but there has to be 4 off-street parking stalls on the site. Just the findings that I kind of went over beforehand, but we have a moderate income housing plan, and this is one of those strategies. Utah is experiencing a housing shortage that is constantly before us. And this is one of the ways that Payson can possibly provide additional housing specifically for moderate income housing families and things like that. So as a recommendation, staff would recommend that the Planning Commission forward a positive recommendation to the City Council. Of course, you can modify that however you want to. Alternative actions, you can remand this back to staff if you have further questions or would like further information, or you could even forward a recommendation to deny. So that is basically my presentation. I do have, like I said, I have the document that has the actual language. I would just recommend that this is being recorded, obviously, and so we make sure to make any comments that you have. If you have changes or questions, we can go through those. But then if we need to make changes or additional information prior to it going on to the City Council, I can do that prior to it going. So it is slated on the council's agenda for next week. We could pull that if we feel that's too fast, or we can make those changes that you would recommend during that time. Not a problem. That's all I have.
Thank you. So it is a public hearing, so we need a motion to open the public hearing, item 5.1. A motion. Second, all in favor by yes?
Yes. There's no one on
Okay,
the.
a motion to close the public hearing. So. All right, second, all in favor by yes?
Yeah, Chair, can you announce who that was?
First, and then. Okay, Commissioner Beecher for second. Thank you. We had like 3.
You're on it tonight.
Yes.
Just for consistency's sake, there was one person that said and DAU instead of AD.
Yes. So Kim went through and corrected my bad grammar that I lifted from some other part.
And just for my clarification, like, they have to follow the building code, so they could have a basement and keep it under 18.
Correct.
That's just the clarification.
That's great.
And I like the violation section that is very detailed out.
My one question, and it's just because I know people like to manipulate the system, is on 12 and parking. It says a detached garage is converted to a detached dwelling under the unit, the 2 off-street parking spaces for the dwelling must be replaced. And I don't know if we ought to just put that must be replaced with covered parking or similar instead of just replaced. Are we requiring just?
That is actually a really good question. That's required by our code already in the parking section.
Okay.
I could beef it up here if you want me to, but it's already required.
It's already stated other places.
Let's like cut off future complaints for somebody who only read this section and didn't read the
Possibly.
parking section. So just say that if the garage was replaced, it has to be replaced with
Yeah.
2 covered or.
Or just reference the
2
other.
additional, yeah.
They can read the other code.
We
But
can,
either way, that was just my only, it's just because I could see somebody be like, well, it didn't say they had to be covered parking, I replaced it with, so I just put a cement pad over here and.
Okay.
So just save us hassle later.
again, if you want to remand, we could remand. If you want
I
to
don't think it's
include
bad,
that,
I think,
just include that as part of the motion.
I think just address it something.
item 10, it reads, it's talking about occupancy. And it reads, an owner's temporary absence shall not relieve this requirement. I thought we decided that it was temporary, that they,
We did decide that, and that's the one I forgot. So, because I was racking my brain and I didn't want to listen to the whole thing. I'll be honest.
That was one that I picked up on too. The thought though has gone to me is, it could get a little bit into the weeds as to what it means to occupy. I'll give you an example. The owner whose name is on the title of the property has children. And they are independent age, teenagers or young adults. The owner leaves for a while, but leaves those kids in place. Does that qualify as owner occupied if they do that kind of thing? I'm wondering if we need some language, and I don't know what that language is exactly, but if we need some language that defines what owner occupied means.
So in here, it does say that owner occupancy requires primary residency of at least 50% of ownership on property title. So that covers it a little bit. I think the scope of your question, Commissioner, is a really good one that would probably lead more to a question about defining occupancy in our code, maybe rather than this section. Currently, to Commissioner Beecher's point, we do allow for a temporary absence and we still consider that owner occupied. But occupancy is one of those really kind of crazy questions. That the more you find, the more try and define it, sometimes the more loopholes you create. But I think that's something that the Planning Commission could take up. And we could bring, our section that deals with owner occupancy to you and see if we need to modify some of those sections. Okay.
Other comments by commissioners? Somebody willing to?
I'll make a motion then, with the recommended changes that we've suggested, or, I would make a motion that we would forward this edition of section 13 to the city council with a positive recommendation.
Motion to second.
I would add that just to include the findings as outlined in the second report to that motion.
Noted.
So noted.
Okay, do we have a second?
Then I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Beecher, all in favor by yes?
Yes.
Yes. And any opposed? No, okay, that will move on to city council. You want to do training now? Yes, that's very easy.
Training that was a very efficient meeting. I appreciate your diligence.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion. Second, Mr. Warner, all in favor by yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
Rescue your kids.
Yes.
Where are they?
Little lady, maybe don't take them up.
Well, two of them are at